Will Smith returns to theaters. It is the first theatrically released film of his since the infamous Oscar slap a few years ago, and he chose a good one to return with because this franchise means a lot to a lot of people. It is one of the most successful action franchises of the past 25 years for sure, and we have now the fourth installment in the series. Let's talk about Bad Boys: Ride or Die. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new film, Bad Boys: Ride or Die. This is the fourth installment in the popular franchise. And yes, of course, it would have been better if they had called this Bad Boys for Life, since it is the number 4 in the franchise. But they used that title already for the third movie. I guess maybe they weren't thinking ahead that there would be a fourth in the series, but who knows? In any event, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are returning to their respective roles. There's a few other mainstays as well from the series, and some new faces as well. We'll get into all of this here momentarily. First, though, let me welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We do movie and TV reviews here on the channel, and just about every day I do try to post something new, so there's always a lot going on here, whether it is movie-related, TV-related, and you can check out the playlist on the homepage as well. That'll kind of streamline your experience a little bit if you don't want to wade through all of the different videos. But in any event, please consider subscribing, click that like button, and comment below. All that stuff, of course, helps the channel out. So, all right, Bad Boys: Ride or Die. This sees, like I said, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence returning to their popular roles. We also have Joe Pantoliano here, Vanessa Hudgens, who is the latest Masked Singer, by the way, Alexander Ludwig, Will Beal, and some new faces as well, including Eric Dane, Tiffany Haddish, Ian Gruffud, and Rhea Seehorn, just fresh off of Better Call Saul. And Tasha Smith here takes over the role that Teresa Burnett played, or the role of Teresa Burnett, rather, played by Teresa Randall for the first 3 installments. That is the wife of the Martin Lawrence character. But in any event, obviously we've got some new with some old faces in this franchise, and like I said, I think this is probably a smart move on Will Smith's part. He did have one movie that came out after the Oscar slap, but it was an Apple Plus exclusive called Emancipation, which was not very good. So I think it makes sense for him to sort of return to one of the roles that made him a movie star back in the mid-90s. And that's how long this series has been going on. We had the first 2 kind of within a few years, and then a long pause, I think 21 years or something like that, before we got the third one. But that third one ended up being not only very popular, but because theaters shut down about 2 months after it was released, Bad Boys for Life, the third movie, became the #1 grossing movie of 2020 in America because, theaters were only open a few months, so the summer blockbuster season didn't happen and whatever. But it did make over $200 million, so obviously, some big bucks for the studio, hoping certainly to reclaim that. And just real quickly, the premise here for this one. So basically, we have the Joey Pants character, who is their captain. He has passed away, and we see him in archival footage and in video footage. But essentially, he is framed for being involved with the Romanian mafia and all of this. And it is up for Mike Lowry and Marcus Burnett, our main stars here, to investigate the corruption and what exactly is going on. And they end up being fugitives as a result. So that's sort of the log line, the basic premise here. So look, these are not my kind of movies necessarily. I don't gravitate towards them, and as a result, most of the movies like this in the 80s and 90s, just straight ahead action movies, I just never really watched. I wasn't really allowed to watch a lot of them growing up in the 80s, and then when stuff like this came around in the 90s, I was in college. My viewing choices, I had to be a little more selective. So I never ended up watching the first 2 Bad Boys movies until a few years ago when the third one came out. And then I kind of watched all 3, within about a week. And I get it. Look, there's chemistry to spare between Lawrence and Smith. The guys are great together. And here they are really leaning in, I think, to their own personalities, perhaps some of their trials and tribulations over the years. There's a portion where the Martin Lawrence character goes out in the middle of the street half naked, and that's something that the real life Martin Lawrence ended up doing in the 90s. I think he was on drugs at the time. And there's a couple moments where Will Smith really is getting into somebody's face, and you think, oh, he's going to slap him. I don't know how purposeful that was, but, definitely things that we think about, maybe in terms of scandals with these two guys. So they kind of, I think, maybe leaned into that a little bit. And also leaning into the fact that Martin Lawrence has chunked up a little bit, in his older age, as a lot of us do. He's gained a bit of weight, and so they talk about that in the movie and make jokes about his sugar rush and all of this kind of stuff. And it works, it's part of their camaraderie, I think. And look, this is a dumb action movie. I think all of the Bad Boys movies kind of fall into that lane. I think the second one is probably my least favorite, but I enjoyed the third one, just fine. And I think this one has a lot of the hallmarks that people come to these movies for. There's a lot of really great action moments, a lot of shoot 'em ups. And here specifically, I don't remember this so much in the third one. Maybe it was there, but here I think there's a lot of really interesting choices for sets. We have one shootout in like an art gallery. We have another one in sort of like an amusement park fun house kind of thing. There's a lot of interesting set pieces in this that kind of help the action along and allow the fun to kind of just reveal itself as we go, not just people shooting behind a barricade or something. We have interesting things to look at, colorful things to look at while that's going on. So this was directed by the same people who did the third movie, which is Adil and Bilal is how they're known. They've directed a couple of other movies, but mostly known for these Bad Boys movies. And, look, there were some interesting directing choices that I didn't quite love. At one point somebody's typing on a keyboard and we see the fingers really close up to the keys. I'm like, all right, we don't necessarily have to get creative with the shots. A movie like this, people aren't coming for interesting directing necessarily. They're just coming for explosions and the camaraderie between the two leads, etc. So I'm not sure about that. But they did do some first-person shooting stuff as well, which actually did kind of work because, of course, in video game world, you're doing first-person stuff all the time. So makes some sense to have them kind of switch on and off a little bit with that. So that I was okay with. But some of the more interesting angles and stuff, I was like, all right, people aren't really coming to these movies for this. Just kind of give them what they want. And for the most part, I think this movie does that. It is definitely not what I would call a good movie, but for what it is, I think people are going to enjoy it. And I can say I was never bored by it. It's certainly an interesting movie. One of my biggest complaints actually is the Rhea Seehorn character, and not necessarily her character itself, but you have this amazing actress. We've seen her, really flexing her acting chops in Better Call Saul, and I just felt like she was kind of wasted here. And it's, a little bit kind of comes with the territory, right? You have this really high quality actor or actress in a role in a silly shoot 'em up action movie. Yeah, they're not really going to be maybe on their toes, but I just felt like she was kind of wasted here in the role. But I will say, the writing, as sort of routine as it is for a movie like this, the characters do have pretty interesting arcs. There's a third member of the team that comes on and is on the run with our two leads, who I won't even get into because I feel like maybe it's a little bit spoilery, but, so that is fun as well, and we see some interesting things there. And in the first scene, because of his sugar problems and whatever, the Martin Lawrence character actually ends up in the hospital, and he's got heart issues and stuff, so he has this epiphany. So there's sort of an overarching theme as well of dying, and there's an emotional tone that, look, I don't know that they went all the way with it, which I think was smart. It never really hit me in the sense of, I might cry or something, but there were definitely some emotional moments and thinking about, these characters getting older and what kind of legacy they want to leave and et cetera. And again, they never pushed that too hard, but it's something that maybe I didn't expect going into a movie like this that I think worked in the small doses, that they presented it. So look, overall, I think this is probably about as good as the third movie. I think the first one's probably still the best. I'd have to go back and watch all of them. I don't think any of these movies are necessarily bad. I think Bad Boys 2 is probably like the most average. But I think for kind of a, quote unquote dumb action movie, you could certainly do a lot worse. And I think Bad Boys fans will appreciate, all of the touches that are on display in this film. So I leave Bad Boys Ride or Die with a B-. I think it will definitely scratch the itch for fans of this series. And look, hopefully it reclaims Will Smith to some box office gold. Obviously, I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on the take here. Not that it's been a good summer so far. The Fall Guy was sort of a miss. Not a lot of people are seeing the Furiosa movie, unfortunately. So who knows? But I think this could bring some box office take here. I don't know. But anyway, thank you for watching Dan Reviews It. I'll see you next time.